welcome to the Mad Bum Luke's podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts, Shaykh Amir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Mr. Shaykh Amir, I should call you.
Mr. Saeed.
I heard you're Mr. Saeed?
Mr. Saeed.
Mr. Saeed.
Yes, sir.
Your title has been revoked, I
Revoked.
heard. And we have our president, Notorious Mort.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome to the show, everyone. It's good to have you guys on tonight. We are going to be talking about a whole lot of stuff related to the Islamic school scandal with the Missionary on this episode. If you have not seen the part 1 episode, if you have been in a cave somewhere, or basically outside Chicago, because it's the talk of the town right now, and we're here to clarify some issues and talk about some of the things related to the response that Islamic Foundation School has graciously provided. May Allah increase them and preserve them.
Ameen.
Ameen. Let's go, Sheikh.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So check this out. Before we begin today's podcast, I would like to be very, very clear about a few things. The last podcast, I stand corrected that I was
Wait
my
a
tone.
second.
Hold on. Let me finish,
second.
bro.
Why are you?
Yeah, I just started, bro.
Who told you to start off
Hold on.
with a
Dude, just
correction?
let me do my thing, bro. Let me do
We're
my
never wrong. We're the Mad Mamluks.
thing. No. We can be very wrong, and we're openly going to admit it, inshallah.
We're never ever wrong.
Listen, did you know that some people call us like the A-team of Muslims? Like whenever people are in trouble?
I love it when a plan comes together.
Okay. So
In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security
you call in
stockade
the
in the
Mad
Los
Mamluks.
Angeles underground. Today, still
This is
wanted by
what's
the government,
happened.
They survive as soldiers
You
of
call in the
fortune.
unit.
If you have a problem,
You can't
if
take
no
it
one else
back
can
once
help,
we're out.
and if you can find them,
I'm Murdoch,
maybe
baby.
You wanted a job to
The
get done. Boom! Heck yeah, there he is. We got our Murdoch here. And we got, well, B.A.
B.A.
Baracus. B.A. Baracus. And I'm your host, Hannibal.
Hannibal Lecter.
Resident Goose. All right.
And Mahi's the pretty guy who's always missing.
Thank you for the face. His name was Face. Thank you for that intro. I appreciate that. Thank you. So look, guys, the last episode, my tone was very emotional, and that shouldn't have happened. I agree 100%. There's people that I respect very much that told me that, and I agree. All right, before you cut me off, let me continue, please. All
Go
right?
ahead, go.
The other is there were ad hominems by myself. I referred to them as buffoons, and I shouldn't have said that because that wasn't very helpful, right? This is my personal thing. You guys can disagree with me. I don't care. So, let
I
me
don't
finish.
retract that.
Let me finish. You don't. I do. That's
Yeah.
cool, right? I shouldn't have said that, and that's 100% true. I shouldn't have said that. And the other is there was a misconception of what I said. Some people misunderstood it. A majority of people understood it. Some people claimed that I was doing takfir on them, that I said they were kuffar and they weren't Muslim. What I actually was trying to say, I'm probably not even going to repeat it because someone's going to misunderstand it. But
No, go ahead, repeat it. What did you exactly say?
Exactly, I don't know. What I actually meant to say was that people who had come across them that were scholars from this community, they dealt with them closely and saw what their motives were, and the school and why they're working with the school. It had nothing to do with Islam, and people thought that I said something. But you know what? I shouldn't have said that anyway. Hold on. I shouldn't have said that anyway because that didn't help the situation. So I stand corrected. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys want to hear me. We didn't plan this, by the way, before the show. Like what I was going to say. I just said I have a statement to make, and I apologize about that. And if I was actually, I'm not going to say if I was wrong for doing that because that wasn't a part of the plan. And I let my feelings get the best of me, and I apologize. And let me make one last apology because I was being 100% serious when I said this is a very difficult thing to do. Why is it a very, very difficult thing to do? Because like our families are going to be affected, the people who we discussed, their families are going to be affected, right? And I came into it with the mindset, and I'm still of this mindset, that if there is a certain type of oppression that occurs, everyone is affected by it. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything, right? Everybody's affected by it. And even the people who stand up and say something, they're obviously going to be affected by it. And the people who they have mentioned are also going to take the hit. So I would like to look into the camera and tell the families of the people that we talked about last week. I'm not going to mention them by name anymore, especially in this podcast. I would like to tell you that I apologize that you're having to go through this. But us as a community, we deal with these issues. Some of us may not have dealt with it by ad hominems like myself, but the issue still stands, and I want you to continue to be patient the same way we have to be patient, because we don't get joy out of doing this and talking about people specifically if their families are going to get affected by this. And I'll tell you another thing. To the 3 brothers, and I'm going to refer to them as brothers, that we mentioned in the previous podcast, or on Saturday's podcast, they're still my brothers in Islam. You have to understand that. And if I was ever to see them and they were in a time of need, I would come to their help. What we were trying to say is, on a level of leadership, that people who are best fit for leadership have to be in that position. And the issues that occurred that were egregious as far as the Christian missionary is concerned, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, basically. And that's something that had to be addressed very, very, very sternly. In the process of being stern, yes, it came out to some people as emotional, some people were happy with it, whatever the case is. But nonetheless, I'm telling all those families, whatever happened in that podcast, it doesn't matter. They're still my brothers in Islam. In a capacity of working in an Islamic school, no, I'm not going to do it. But if I saw them on the street, just simple, elementary example. If their car was broken down, I would pull over, even if I was my family, to help them. We're still Muslims, and we still have each other's back, even if we disagree. And some of us may say things that other people don't like, right? And that's basically a statement that I wanted to make about Saturday's podcast. And if I think of anything else,
I don't know.
Okay,
I disagree. Don't you think? Do you remember that one accountant guy, Inam Rahim, who stole $450,000 from Islamic Foundation, that corrupt account? Don't you think his wife was pretty upset after he got caught?
Yeah, but
don't
she
you think
also got to share the money, though.
I mean, but they got caught, right? I'm sure she had like.
No, but other people really didn't. Forget about the
people who are related to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Sim is saying is that irrelevant of how they feel, it had to come out.
Yeah, I mean,
facts are facts. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Look, these are gentlemen who are executives at boards and stuff like that. They don't sometimes the lines between, oh, I'm an executive in my building and everyone gives me this level of respect. I work with these guys. This is how they kind of are. They think that everyone's going to give them that kind of respect outside, you know. Well, and then sometimes they do get that kind of respect, but then sometimes you run across some people who you end up burning, and you get them really upset, and they say, hey, you know what? I can't do anything about this right now. I'm powerless. But if the opportunity arises, maybe I'll be able to talk about it. Who knows? They just put it in their back pocket. They try to forget about it. They try to move on. But the situation arose where something was happening, and many of them came forward and said, hey, you know what? This is our time to tell our story. This isn't about one or two individuals where they're trying to put in this statement that there's some coaches or something. This is multiple individuals who contacted us. You know?
Yeah. So there's also another element. And then there's people on the outside who don't know either parties, who hear about these things. And they've been hearing about things for months and years, right? And they kind of just let it go because it was something, you know, there are always going to be disagreements. Always. Right? But when there are issues that come to protection of children and the community, that's when the tolerance of letting things go, that threshold is crossed, right? Meaning that you're like, you know what? Enough is enough, right? I just want to say this. While you made a clarification about who you were addressing and why you were addressing it, which is good, alhamdulillah. However, just as people want to advise us, they also sometimes are in need of advice too. And it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
If simply by, sure, there may have been certain things that we collectively said or did or whatever in the manner in which we did it, which you don't like. The problem, though, is that the core issue which you should be the most upset about is not upsetting to you. And that is problematic. The fact that there was a Christian missionary who was at the school potentially teaching your children about other things, And it's alleged that there were even sessions where there were one-on-one times with sisters in the masjid, the gymnasium. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm saying if this is true, this should be shocking to you. This should be a slap in the face. Sure, maybe the delivery was not something you wanted to hear. Maybe it's not, of course it's not pleasant to hear things about people you may know or in a school where you go to or whatever it may be. But at the very least, if this is something true, and it's not one person saying it, it's a bunch of people saying this, it's worth investigating. On that note, I wanted to say this as well too. If you want to condemn the Mad Mamluks for giving half-truths and saying, you know what, oh, you didn't verify, I would like to say this. There was a letter that was recently coming out, and it was allegedly from IFS. It was passed on to, some groups I was in. I had no idea if it was official or not. It had no names on it. It had nothing on it. However, the individual that wrote that letter, whoever that may be, the anonymous person,
or people,
he has the right to be anonymous if he wants to. I don't care. However, the fact that you mentioned people's names specifically and said they are to blame for what happened, first and foremost, is inaccurate. We never confirmed that, nor did anyone ask us about this, nor did, when they had plenty of opportunities to reach out to us, to call us, to email us, to verify who the information was, and yet instead of doing that, they decided to go on the offensive and make up a slander or an accusation that a person A was responsible for all of this, and because of some relationship and whatever it may be. And the problem is that what they're accusing us of doing is in fact what they're doing right now, right? And the issue is that if they wanted some reconciliation, they wanted to get to the bottom of this, right? Come and ask us. Asked to be on the show. We already gave an invitation. If you wanted a follow-up, if you wanted to come back and represent your perspective, we've always said this is an open door policy. You can come in. We've already extended an invitation to you.
2 invitations.
Yeah, whatever it may be. I'm saying the opportunity is there. So rather than actually dealing with the issue and clarifying to the community and to the parents that no, there was someone here. Whatever. If they took action, they didn't know. Taking accountability. No one took any accountability. Rather than taking accountability, it's just that this is one person's fault, and he started the whole thing, whatever person they mentioned, and that's why all this is happening. When in fact, that's the farthest from the truth.
Yeah.
We have multiple sources of people who don't want to get involved for good reasons, because we're seeing what happens right now.
Yeah.
Right. Even people who were not involved are being labeled and are being slandered to the public.
Yeah.
So what would make a person who actually has information want to come out publicly and speak when they have to face reprisal, right? This is the problem. So you're not creating an environment for people to actually speak their truth and for them to actually comment on issues that are ongoing. Rather, what you're doing is you're creating a culture of silence and shaming, and you're condoning this by saying, if you don't do what we tell you to do, and if we don't like you, we're just going to slander you and make, and accusations without verifying. Right? Now, if you want to say the Mad Mamluks did that, again, our information that we put out was not based on a single source. We sat on this for a little while. We wanted to verify. We made numerous attempts to reach out to actually try to have a reconciliation so that we wouldn't even have to go live. This is not about clicks and views. We wanted to solve this before it even became public.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, let me chime in for a bit.
Please.
Our organization is a nonprofit, just like any other of these religious organizations. We've been corrected many times in the past, where we brought on a guest, they didn't exemplify Islamic values, and we'd had to pull their episode down. And we were unaware of statements they made or beliefs they've held, and we had to take those episodes down. We acknowledged that mistake. Hey, that was on us, and we took those episodes down. This is a problem where someone raised an issue within their school, multiple individuals, and these guys said, you know what, who are you to talk to me? This is the message that these parents received. That, hey, we'll figure it out. You're not in. We're not going to give you a word of, we're not going to assuage your concerns at all. We're not going to tell you that, hey, we're going to take care of this. This is going to be taken care of. Don't worry. This is someone who let their ego get ahead of them, who didn't want to respond to emails. This is the kind of person you're dealing with. And then you put out a statement saying that, oh, poor us. We're being defamed here. This is like a,
Victim?
it's a victimhood mentality, Oh, we're as if we've constructed a story around what happened. So
yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that even right now, our job here is not to defame anybody or an institution. What we want is a resolution. We want promises and guarantees that for not only us, but for people who have students, the numerous parents that have reached out to us. I've had particular board members of X communities, whatever, reach out to me and say in confidence, private, that, hey, what you guys are doing is good. It needs to be said. It needs to be done. They may not want to come out and say it publicly because, again, if they face a backlash among certain people, and I respect their ability, their choice not to. However, this is not about that. What we want, the same way we held ICNA responsible, right? We brought Muzammil, the president, I'm sorry, what's his name?
Dr. Ansari.
I'm sorry, yeah. He came on the show to clarify. Imagine, of ICNA, the one in charge of this massive, much larger than IFS. Yes.
The largest Muslim organization in the country, they came on, their president came on, okay? Not just some
Joe Schmo.
Someone who's just pushing pencils on the desk all day. He said, you know what? I'm going to talk to these guys. I'm going to make sure that they understand that whatever happened in the past is not going to happen again. And he said, it's over.
And he reiterated the statement that, hey, we are this kind of organization. This is our ethics, our values. This is what we promise to give you guys. We even made certain questions about, hey, are you going to bring politicians like this? They were able to handle the tough questions. In order to be a leader, I work in corporate America, all right? And many people here do. And you know that when you're in a position of leadership, you have to be able to be accountable. If you're not accountable, you're not suitable. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You can't say, oh, you know what, my level 3 guy just did that. My ERP manager did that. Oh, it's not my problem. No, you are in charge of that department. You have reportees, you have subordinates, and they're accountable to you, and you are accountable to your board.
Yeah.
Right? And so the idea here is that you can't just dismiss, you can't want the position of power or take it if you can't be accountable.
Yeah.
And accountability means sometimes hearing things which you don't want to hear, and even maybe in the tone that you don't like.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's part of being a leader. Being able to take the nonsense, filter through it, and find out how to come out better.
Yeah.
Right? And that's one part of it. The second part of it is that the way you deal with the conflict. Right? Let's just say, you know what? Let's, for argument's sake, say this. All right? And I want people out there listening to understand this. All three of us, let's say we are numbskulls. We have no corporate knowledge. We have no leadership knowledge. We have no nothing, right? It's other guys have all the knowledge about this work. We know nothing. Fine. We're a bunch of dummies, okay?
Which is true.
No problem. As a leader, you have to be able to say, these guys are a bunch of dummies, but I have to kind of hear what's in their mouth and try to understand that what they're saying right now could start a fire.
Yeah.
Right? How do I understand? How do I hear? How do I filter away, peel that back, and see what the core issue is and address that issue? That's a leader.
Core issue here. That's
the
very
core
important.
issues. It's not about like, oh, he's just disgruntled, or they're just, oh, look at the language they're using, or look how they're dressed, or oh my God, look at their age. All of that is irrelevant. It's called whataboutism.
Yeah.
It's an excuse to not actually deal with the issue.
Yeah.
Right? And the funny part is that the funny part of the irony behind all this is that we're not doing this because we want them to suddenly just just come out and say IFS is all bad, or that everyone is evil and Madam Lukes is right. We don't care about that. Yeah. What we're saying is we want to know that the community is safe. The same way that we would want to know that, hey, if there was a person that was a white supremacist, a KKK member, a crazy militia member that was somehow working in the IFS, that our children will be safe. You're not going to make the same mistake again, right? Forget about the fact that it's replace missionary with whatever, right? It doesn't matter anything that is against Islamic values. It cannot be pushed in the school. Yeah. We cannot bring that into our environments. These institutions were created to be safe spaces for Muslims and their communities, and this is by the donation of individuals who didn't even have money. They gave it because they invested in a future that their children and their community would be safe.
Yeah.
And that is an amana to you. Just because you got a position, that position of board member or chairman, it means nothing in the sight of Allah. If you don't accomplish, actually it's a detriment to you if you don't take that responsibility seriously. I'm not making an accusation saying they're not or they're not. I'm giving an advice here. Yeah. It applies to all of us, even to us, people who have a voice. We will be accountable for what we say, right? But the point being here is that when people make criticisms of us on here, I don't just dismiss them as people who are crazy or haters or whatever. No, they have the right to say what they want to say. When I put myself publicly out there, when you put yourself in a public position, you are open to criticism and you must have a thick skin.
Yeah, that's true. Now, everything you said, I agree with it 100%. Before I get into this document, and just my take before we can dissect it, inshallah. I hope we can dissect it.
You want to dissect it? That's a pretty lengthy document.
It is. No, not all of it.
Did you bring your tools or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I brought a dull mind to it. So check this out. The reason why this was very, very important to us, I'm just going to tell you what my mindset is. We are in a time right now where Islamic schools are getting an influx of enrollment because of agendas that are being pushed in the public school arena. Naturally, in a year where it was a peak of people taking their kids out of public schools, Christians, Muslims, and Jews alike, it just happens to be that year that there's a Christian missionary that's going to be teaching our kids, right? I don't care what you said, what subject it is or whatever, as a coach, as whatever the case is, in a summer camp. We know for sure it was there for a summer camp, okay? Let's just even extend a nice gesture and say, you know what, they never planned for it to be during the school year. That's cool. Let's just say, let's talk about facts. The facts are 100% that this individual, Christian missionary, evangelical Christian, was in charge or teaching at this basketball camp, right? Now, during the school year, let's just say that never happened. But how do you know that there's children that are kind of on the fringe? They know they're having certain types of tendencies. Maybe they even practice a private lifestyle of homosexuality or whatever the case is. And this person comes to them and tells them, hey, you know what? That's not in Christianity, man. You could come as you are. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it and this and that, right? There's so many ways of influencing, right? And we're going to expound upon that more on what the document had mentioned. As far as this document is concerned, guys, I'm not being hyperbolic at all. I contacted multiple sources to find out if this was a legitimate document. If this is not to be condescending. I'm just speaking from the heart. When I saw this, number one, like I was looking for a name. I didn't see a single name. I just saw IFSC on here, right? Which still to many people is very vague. If you're trying to make a very clear statement, you're very vague. And I was thinking, I can make a template like this and just make something. And then I was like, dude, is this a prank? Wallahi, I said that to a few people. I was like, dude, is this a prank? Do you know about this? Because I was like, this is something that it's not very difficult to put this together. And the other reason why it was very difficult to understand if this is a prank, because it was self-incriminating. It was the doubling down and almost proving that, yes, he was here. Instead of talking about it and apologizing about it, that's what I was kind of thinking was going to happen. But this document, got to get my emotions in check. This document is so self-incriminating that I thought it was a prank and I thought it was like a parody type thing. So I contacted people and said, I'm getting this. What was your source? Where did you actually get this from? And it was supposed to be official communication. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But if this is true, and I'm saying this with me, not just you, all of us or nothing, in front of Allah, there are multiple deliberate lies on here. And one way for you to understand is a trend that you see within this document of every single person that they talk about. They have the same level of communication that they had before these people left.
Okay, can you tell us which slides? Because no, I have the document on the screen.
Yes. So I told the guys this. I'm not going to talk about my portion because I don't want to make this about myself.
Yeah.
Even though when I showed this to an attorney, two attorneys, what was actually here was inaccurate about myself, and they were accusing us of slander. There's actually real defamation on here against me. But I'm not gonna harp on that right now, and inshallah.
It's so funny that you're a former employee, and they start off the thing saying that Islamic Foundation, as an institution, has a general policy to keep HR-related topics confidential.
Exactly.
And then you go on talking about.
That's what, I still don't know if this is real, dude. Because if this is real, this is disastrous.
So before we get there, like I said, we don't want to speak about what they said about Shaykh Amir.
That's true.
Because people who know them, we know Shaykh Amir, right? But the point being is that this is an example of incompetency. Yeah. When you come out and say, we don't speak about HR stuff, but then go on to speak about it.
That's why, dude, this has got to be a joke, dude.
Right? So what I'm saying is that I know someone might get offended. Oh my God, they're calling IFS incompetent again. Listen, the point being is we're trying to demonstrate to the community as to why we're having an issue with the organization right now. Because you cannot claim, like, if this happened, hold on. Let me just make this small point for you guys. They claim that they want to run this like a corporation, right? Yeah. There's boards, right? Can you imagine in corporate America if I were to release or mention something about my former employee publicly without actually, you know what I mean? Like private. Like, I mean, I'm talking about like nature of what they did to get released, right? Publicly. Do you know what kind of backlash I would receive? I mean, as an employer.
From HR.
Yeah, I'm saying from HR, not only that, but I'm saying even Watchdog will be like, you know what? This company talks about its former employees and publicly shames them, right? I mean, even an issue they have, it's like this. Like, let's say a public employee, like, I'll give you an example. Let's say I had an employee before me, a subordinate, below me, and let's say I own a restaurant, right? And the guy came in one day and he slipped and he fell and he goes, you know what? It's unacceptable that the water was everywhere. They didn't put any signs up and I slipped and I fell. And then I come out and say, you know what? This guy is actually a former employee and he left under, very unpleasant circumstances. But we don't really talk about we don't really talk about the employee issues here. But this is what happened. Anyways, this didn't happen. He never fell, right? I mean, people be like, what are you talking about, bro? Yeah. Like, why are you mentioning his employment with you, right? It would never be accepted in the corporate world. So if you truly want to behave like a corporate entity, you have to also understand that you have to keep to certain corporate practices. And of them being that you cannot talk about former employees. But forget about that. Again, this is just displaying a incompetency in whoever wrote this letter. Yes. I'm not saying the organization. I don't know who behind it. I don't know if they sanctioned it. I don't know any of that. All I know is whoever wrote this letter clearly is making IFS look incompetent.
Very incompetent. That's why I feel bad. And this is where the roles get reversed, because they said in this document, they, he, she, whoever it is.
They, them,
Zer. The podcast host, Mr. Imran Munir, Mr. Amir Saeed, Mr. Murtada Siddiqui, have attacked the religion. Bold-faced lie. Have some shame. Oh, I gotta check my emotion. My bad, bro.
Wait, hold on. I read that twice, so I want to be fair here, okay? Yeah. I think they're saying they combined it with the religion of the individual, not the deen of Islam.
Hold on. Religion, ethics, and competency of the okay, you're right. Of the IFS members.
Yes.
Which we didn't. And I'll clarify that.
Okay.
And IFS staff and its students.
Right. So, first and foremost, we never talked about whether they're Muslims or not.
Yeah.
We didn't even think that. We weren't even going in that direction.
Yes.
We were simply talking about incompetence in position of leadership.
Yes.
Not that they're not Muslims or they are Ahlul Bidah or Mubtadi'een or whatever. We didn't say anything about it. We didn't call them Mushrikeen. We didn't say any of that, right? Secondly, I don't think we ever mentioned anything about the students that were going there or the other teachers that were there. We didn't mention it. We specifically mentioned, and rightfully so, or whatever, people can disagree or agree, whatever, there were names that were mentioned, and it happened to do with the board that was in charge of handling the affairs of how the school runs.
Yes.
And those were the individuals that we were speaking of. It did not to claim that we were speaking about even the masjid board in general, or the community members, or the students, or the teachers, the staff, in general, is a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, that's a complete... Just watch the podcast from Saturday, and you'll see how this is a complete lie. This is why, look, guys, I keep saying this. I don't know how seriously to take this document. I don't know if this is somebody that just sent out a letter just to get a podcast out of us, but it worked. I'm being 100% serious. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's got the, the branding on it.
The official seal?
I mean, I could get that template from online, too.
I mean, can anyone...
But they're talking about HR matters, right? So it seems like they know.
I mean,
some
it could
level
be... Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, it seems like that whoever wrote this has inside knowledge.
Can somebody in the chat... I will let Ken...
No, I mean, not the chat. I'm saying, if anyone... Can anyone from... Again, our line is open. The channel of communication and our official, email. If this was written by IFS... Can someone actually tell us, and I mean, like, just confirm with us that this is something written? Because the last thing we want to do is now have a letter where we're reading about and discussing, and next thing you know, we get an email saying, this is not IFS.
Maybe that's why the names were left out. I don't know, man.
I don't know, but I mean, the point being is that, again, it's just so mind-boggling to me that that this letter would come out, and if it is official, right? There's no names. There's no confirmation of an official release or anything like that. I don't know. Is it on the website, or it was put into a WhatsApp group, I believe. I don't know if it was mailed out to parents or whatever, or I don't know. But the point being is that this is not the way to deal with the situation, right? I mean, there's a serious accusation that there was a mishandling or how do I put this, a misjudgment in hiring somebody, meaning that there was not a proper background check done, an investigation done as to who the individual was, and it seems to appear that when it was disclosed or uncovered that he was in fact a missionary, the narrative, instead of saying we did not know, we apologize for that, it was, no, I mean, we had him supervised. Nothing ever happened that was wrong. We can guarantee everything is perfectly fine. And that, yeah, we're in control here, right? And that was pretty much the narrative. And that, I don't think that's sufficient for parents. Like, if I'm trying to understand this, like, if God forbid, they hired a teacher that would part-time, like, moonlighted as a stripper, right? Would that be okay? Yeah, I mean, like, would that be fine? Like, would you be okay? Like, someone who advocates women to go out and, dance on the poles at nighttime is perfectly fine. I mean, hey, don't worry, we're supervising them. It's fine, all right? It's just temporary. They're here just for the summer. It's okay. It's summertime. There's not too much going on here, right? No problem. We're watching. No one would accept that, right? Nobody would say it's a good thing that we did that, because the idea is that what is one of the objectives of this, right? That students have good role models that they can learn their Islam from, and have the proper tarbiyah, right? That these are role models. Like, hey, you know what? This teacher is having a positive influence on my child, right? And they're going to give them the ability to make good and right decisions, right? And if someone believes that it's okay to do certain things, whether it be the haram or being, believing that God is a man or whatever it may be, those are the values that you don't want in your children. You don't want them anywhere near them. The whole reason why you don't put your children in Catholic schools and public schools is to keep them away from this.
Yeah.
So how is that? And I guess my question is, in a sincere way, is when the board found out that he was a missionary, because I'm inclined to believe that they actually didn't know.
Yeah, of course.
They had no idea this guy was making dawah to innocent Pakistanis and claiming to, to baptize them and pull them away from Islam. Granted, I don't know how anybody would know that.
But the document is alleging that he's not a missionary. I don't know if you saw in this document, they put it in quotes, right here, Christian missionary in quotation, as if like he's not a Christian missionary.
Yeah.
So I think anyone that watched your previous episode his profile is public.
Yeah.
Right? We have played clips of him joining Adil, or whatever his name is, RF Adil, Adil, whatever the guy was name was. Anyways, in Pakistan, preaching and saying, I'm happy to be here, the Spirit of God. And he's talking about, how he converted and baptized about 90 or 60, whatever, Pakistani, whatever it may be. He's active. He talks about how he wants to spread the light of God and Jesus and people. There's videos of him opening the supermarket where he's trying to make people, give their life to Christ.
Yeah. He's
a missionary. He's an evangelical. It's just something that he does, right? Look, that's his business. However, it's what he does.
Yeah.
Right? You can't separate that from the individual.
But the document is so self-incriminating because they doubled down that, yes, we did hire him. And then they're making excuses, putting things in quotation marks, right? And then saying that, we made sure and everybody knew that he was a good person. And nothing. It's just self-incriminating, and it just made things much worse for them. That's why, dude, I was telling people, and I'm not even going to say who, bro, but I felt so bad when I read this document, and I was like, this can't be from them, because now I'm actually feeling bad for these people, because they dug themselves a deeper hole than they were already in, and complete inadequate incompetence of writing of this letter, HR issues, false information, and as a background, and major, talking about major misinformation, and they themselves decided to have major misinformation on this, and claiming to understand and spend time on employees that were there thinking that they had something, but they just threw the wrong people under the bus.
Yeah.
We have multiple sources, dude. And dare I say, guys, look, I have to say something without getting emotional again. I promise a lot of people are not going to be emotional, all right? I'm trying to be as stoic as possible. There's people that are within a very, very close circle of the people that we discussed, and I know them very well, that are very, very valuable sources to us. But we're not going to mention their names, right? And they threw what was something very easy to dispose of, which was whatever they mentioned in the document, Coach 1 and Coach 2 and all these other people or whatever else they were insinuating. They thought they had it. And this is something which is legally they weren't actually that much of a legal issue before. And now they're in a major legal bind now. Because they threw people under the bus that had no involvement, right? They doubled down. They mentioned false information about me, which I'm going to leave for a different time, inshallah. And they're probably going to be getting a letter soon, not from me, but from somebody else, right? And they just made matters much worse, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just... again, this is just in my mind. The only thing that's going back in my mind is the incompetence. How do you expect to deal with the community? This is just to be honest, this is a small issue that could have been fixed very easily.
So easy.
It's an honest mistake that happened, right? And they had an opportunity.
And we agree.
Right?
Can I pause you right there, Mort? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's an honest mistake. You're right. And if they were forthcoming of it, we would say hats off to you, respect you guys.
I would
keep on.
I would praise them for making the right, because
you're right.
It's not. I don't expect leaders and people in position of power to be perfect.
No.
We are far from perfect, but the attempt to rectify and to protect our community is valuable to me, especially in a time where people are already confused about things like gender, sexuality, God, does God even exist? Things like this that we're facing. And in the light, to add in the midst of all this even more a confusing element, right? I just feel like this thing got blown up proportion.
No, look, we walk the talk. What we're saying is what we do. When we bring on people in the past that we've had to retract episodes from or distance ourselves from other statements that those guests have made that we didn't know about, we take accountability for it. Hey, we didn't know. I'm sorry. Like, hey, or you know what? I thought, you know, so and so was a different person, and in my mind, there was a different image of them, and it turns out that was wrong.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for over 6-7 years now, and there's been a few episodes like that. And those are
I'm
gone
someone
now.
that has to. I hardly apologize, and I apologize, right? And I'm just saying that no one is above a mistake, right? And the idea is that mistakes don't make you incompetent. Hiding the mistake, not taking accountability for the mistake, makes you incompetent.
But not only that, taking constructive criticism, I'm not just talking about this issue, as a threat. If we're supposed to be community, and you want to listen to us of what we have to say, as all of us are integral part, and when I say all of us, I'm talking about the entire community. If we give you constructive criticism, that means, hey, I'm not able to do what you do as a leader, but this is something that I can help you with, so try to fix this. If you take that as a threat, man, we are in a lot of trouble, and that's basically what's happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. It's I feel really bad because of this document. It's going to be really, really bad. They're in shambles. All the people I talked to were like, "This is even more destruction."
So I just want to say this: there are a lot of people, and I'm not just saying this, that have reached out to many of us.
Yes.
Who they were not our sources. However, they were people that heard the episode, and they have their own experiences with the board and just whatever's happening here, and they have lended their support, and they're saying, listen, we are 100% behind you. This had to be said. It had to be done. Somebody needs to step in and mention this and publicly talk about it in order for change to happen. It's not like anyone here intends to burn down IFS or just burn down the school. Like, this is not what we want. It's far from that. And I feel like that's one of the problems, Sim, is that they are framing the letter as if we want to somehow take down IFS.
Yeah, I think we even said some nice things about Aftab Khan, the chairman of IFS.
I respect him. I grew up with the guy.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not
on my
about
street.
This is not about Aftab, uncle. It's not about him. It's about people, individuals that are who are in charge of a certain sector of this larger umbrella organization, and there's a certain level of incompetence in the school that's happening now. And this is just one example. There have been other things which other sources have told us about, even certain people that were hired to run the school. They were horrible. They treated people in a horrible manner. Things like this that we've been hearing about, and we generally just pushed it aside because we understand that, look, running an Islamic organization is not an easy thing. There are many people to please. You're pulled in 100 different directions. You're also trying to keep it professional. You're also trying to, keep a face for the outside community who's not a Muslim community. So many things to consider. It's a difficult job to do, right? However, and
especially as a volunteer,
right? And that's one of the reasons why we don't hark on the other issues. We had many times where people approach us about certain things that happen in IFS, and we just brushed it under the rug. Hey, this is not really worth, like talking about in that manner, because it's an internal matter.
No, it's not just that. It's not that. Look, we're willing to talk about things, but ultimately, you parents are the ones who control this. You people who go to the mosque regularly, who are donors and stuff. You're the ones who have a say. We can only bring the issue up, but the community has to coalesce or rally around an issue, or else it'll just fall on deaf ears. If we bring up everyone's gripe in every single episode, it's just not gonna stick. So
right.
So this issue was the kind of the pinnacle of their incompetence, and it needed to be shown, because it wasn't that we wanted to brush anything under the rug. It was specifically because you have to have a body of evidence of just incompetence.
Yeah.
And this issue proved how incompetent that the organization is being run by. It's not the entire organization; it's just the school aspect of it.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, we all, when it was first brought to us, we sat on it. We talked about it amongst ourselves, and then we all collectively thought the best decision was that let's reach out to them first before we even make it public, because we want to offer them a chance to rectify. Why did we do that? The reason why we did that is because the objective of this is not to get more likes or more views or get a clickbait title or any of that. The idea was that we wanted to protect the community. And if there's a way that we can do it without further escalation and without airing our dirty laundry and by having swift action taken, we want to take the easiest route possible to rectify the affairs of the community.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that did not happen. And we were forced to have to bring it up because we felt a certain amana and a trust, a responsibility, because we have a platform, that it would be incompetent of us to not mention this publicly after we learned about it and tried to rectify with them.
Yeah, our look. Ultimately, we're not brokers of peace. You should be going to a mediator, an Islamic mediator. One of our brothers, Brother Yunus. He came on our episode. He performs the service out in Texas and I believe in the Chicagoland area. He's partnered with Nepotism as well. So, yeah. Sit down and talk with it. If we had reached out, which we did, when we reached out to that individual and asked him to come on our show and talk about the problems or the issues that the parents are having. If he said, "Hey, look, I'm happy to talk about it, just not on live, not on the air," we would have been fine. Said, "Hey, fine, let's just sit down, let's break bread. We'll order some pizza and we'll figure this out."
I'm still willing to do that.
Wasn't. It was just, yeah.
I'm still willing to do that. If they want to come in and talk and we want to just do this issue, I'm not above having to apologize for anything I may have said. I don't know what I said. If I said anything that offended them, no problem. I can apologize. The issue is here, how do we get to the finish line? How do we make sure that we get a promise? It's sad that I have to even say this, that IFS is not going to hire missionaries. Like, I don't know how much more clear we can get. What can we give as assurances to the community that this kind of blunder will not happen again? That your children will not be exposed to somebody who is advocating and bragging about converting Muslims to Christianity. Like, that's really at the end of the day, that is the core issue. What any of these parents who have reached out to is mainly speaking of. It's now the problem though is that this is a symptom of a larger problem, that they feel that their voices and their concerns are not being heard. That's the issue, that the people who are responsible for making these decisions are making them based on what they feel they should do, ignoring what the community itself, the feelings and the concerns of the community.
Not even feelings, what the community actually needs. You need somebody who understands, and I'm going to say this very, very clearly and carefully. We are all sincere about the success of any Muslim school. And since this is our community school, we would want this.
Are your phone, Sim?
That's just Isha Salah.
Okay,
mashallah.
We would want success of this. So someone could say, okay, you guys complain about all this. What's the solution that you're giving? And I gave the solution many years ago and 2 years ago, and I'm going to give the same solution again. The solution is, number one, understanding that you want best for the school. What do you do? If you want best for the school, you see and you look into leadership and you say, is this person best for leadership? Am I best for leadership? There has to be lots of self-reflection. And if I'm not the best for leadership, I have to put somebody there. What makes a person running a school best for leadership? A school. A majority of schools, good schools, their board is retired educators and teachers that are seasoned vets in education. And that's what needs to be done. At least start having that conversation of saying, hey, you know what we want, what's best for the school. Every school is based upon his leadership. Who's in leadership? Okay, if I'm in leadership, if he's in leadership, if she's in leadership, what are the qualifications of this person to run a school? Okay, They don't have education in their toolkit. So let's find somebody. Dude, let's find a Habib Qadri, bro. Let's find a Habib Qadri. How about that? Is that offensive if I say that?
Huh?
Let's find a Habib Qadri. Everybody, he's got a street named after him, bro. Right?
Okay.
Is there anything wrong? Okay. Is there anything wrong with saying, guys, let's find a Habib Qadri?
No, I don't think. I mean, look, if that's a person that who you think is suitable, I'm saying whatever. I think the point is that let's find someone that people can agree on, that they feel is going to be representation of, no,
because I'll tell you why that's an issue, because that opens up to a whole lot of people having input that may not understand the situation at its best. But what I'm saying is you have somebody, the reason why I use the word Habib Qadri, I know him on a very personal level, and he is a person who's very much in tune with our deen. He is he's a PhD, he's a doctor in education, he's a superintendent, and mashallah fa tabarakallah, he's a person who loves the deen. Like all the people we mentioned, look, we're not doubting their deen. I'm pretty sure all of them. And I will say, look, I have no problem in saying that the people we mentioned in the last podcast, they're most likely much better Muslims than I am. It's not some false humility. I'm being 100% serious, right? But if I was to do something, guys, and I'm telling you guys this right now, and everyone that's listening, if I was to do something that was very, very brash and egregious, and I went unchecked, and you empowered me, I will hold you accountable Yawm al-Qiyamah.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm talking to you two guys. I'm talking to my family. If I was to do something, whether it's not egregious or egregious, and I go unchecked and people empower me and compliment me and let me continue because I bring some type of benefit, I will hold every single person accountable.
That's why I call you the blue-eyed devil, bro. I have to remind you
right,
sometimes.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I'm not going to let you escape that.
No, you're right. And I appreciate that. I don't mind self-deprecation at all. I promise. You know,
take that.
Yeah, sometimes you got to take it,
I
bro.
mean, the idea is that, okay, so before we move forward, so what we're going to do, we're going to pin a link. I think we're going to open up the call-in link for anyone that does, because there's a lot of people, a lot of different comments, right? And so if you feel like you have something to say, right, you can click the link, the StreamYard link. It will bring you up. You'll click on it, and you'll be able to join the session as a guest to audio.
No, video should be required, though.
Yeah, in the beginning, at least for verification, you can turn the video off and just make sure. It's a StreamYard link that's pinned to the top. You have to click that link, and you can do it from your phone or from your computer. It doesn't matter.
By the way, I want to give proper respect. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. You want to interrupt me? So,
by the way, Morton Grove has a day named after him, Habib Qadri Day.
Mashallah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Mashallah.
Jazakallah khairan.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that. If for anyone that wants to talk about it and they want to share your view, maybe we got it all wrong. Maybe we're missing something. Maybe you want to throw a word of support. You can use that link to do it. However,
look in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of parents tuning in right now. There's a lot of people who are currently watching. Go ahead and hop in and ask your questions. If you go out of line, if you swear, if you say anything that is,
blasphemous.
Not just blasphemous. If you're just talking out of line, and we'll talk to you respectfully, and we expect that same kind of mutual cooperation in any kind of dialogue. So. We got a couple people here. I don't know who came in first, so let's just start off with.
This is the Republic.
Oh, here we go. I don't know how serious these guys are. All right, let's. We have.
If they're not serious, then we're gonna drop you guys. Sorry, I mean it is what it is.
We got Brother Asim here. Asim.
Oh,
snap.
Dr. Asim.
You gotta unmute, sir.
You're on mute.
Where's the audio? I don't know. Hold on, Asim. We're trying to. Oh, there we go.
Okay. We can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear our kids more.
Oh wait, you can't hear us.
Oh wait, one second. We're gonna fix our audio. 1 second. We hear you. Just give us a 1 second, Asim.
And Asim, move in a place where we can't see your kids if possible.
See, I told you guys.
No, it's not good. No, we're gonna wait.
Let's go to somebody else and come
Yeah,
back
let's
to
just
that.
put.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Dr. Asim, welcome to the show.
Alaikum
So-
salam.
Hey, Asim, if you don't mind, can you go in a place where your kids aren't there, bro, so we can't see them?
that's
Because
fine.
this is going to be on YouTube, bro. So,
Yeah, hide your children.
All right, assalamu alaikum.
like,
Alaikum salam.
First of all, Amir, Shaykh Amir, thank you so much.
Mr. Amir is few.
Mr. Amir Saeed.
Yes.
So, listen, I think, from the original podcast, everyone can agree that, hiring a Christian missionary, that was wrong, that was egregious. I think we all agree to that. I think it says a lot about you as a person and your character to step forward and to make the apologies that you made for naming certain people and things like that. I think that had the podcast just stuck to the facts and presented the facts and left it at that, I think that would have been appropriate. I think the issue that can come up is that, by really kind of going after certain people or saying certain things, at the end of the day, you're still hurting an institution. You're deterring other people to support the school, to support the masjid. You're deterring other donors from supporting the place. At the end of the day, it is still our community. It is still, our masjid. It's still our school. And like you said, like we all grew up over there. We were there the same way you had mentioned how back in the days where, you and your brothers were putting the bricks together to do all the landscaping. We were there with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think all of us do have a sense of, ownership in this. And I think, some steps could have been taken where if the communication is not being heard by said individuals, then obviously there is a chain to follow. There's other people that you can approach, for like the board itself, and present those facts to them. I think that this may have been a little bit rushed. Again, I'm in full agreement that this never should have happened, and I think that perhaps a statement from even from IFS to say, yeah, we acknowledge that this is a mistake. We're looking into the process of what happened. We are looking into the process of how to prevent this from happening in the future. I think that in itself would probably expose in that investigation where the fault lies of how this could have happened.
Yeah. So ask
really
him, let me ask you something. So what would you do in a situation where you reach out to a board member or an organization and they give you no response?
I would make an appointment with them. I mean, I can tell you, I've never had any issues reaching out to, some of the board members like Dr. Yusuf Chaudhry or to.
He's talking about the big boys.
No,
Khan or
I know. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the
there.
school.
I mean,
I'm talking about the
they're
school.
always. I found them always available. Usually, I talk to them after Jummah. I go straight into their office. I talk to them, and whatever I need to speak to them about.
Yeah, but I'm speaking more about the school, right? So, if you try to reach out to the school and are you saying we should go directly to Aftab Khan and then talk to him directly about the school?
Right. If you're following the process, and then you're going up the chain of command, and you're not getting the response.
Can I speak on this, please?
Yeah.
Can I speak on this?
Sure.
Awesome.
Sure.
And this is 100%. I don't care if people believe me or don't want to believe me. I didn't want to take that route because he's the head honcho. He's the head of the thing, and I didn't want the word to get to the masjid side. And that's 100% honesty. I know how much there is a separation, how much of a barrier there is in between. I didn't want to take it straight up to the big boys. I'm being 100% honest with you because I knew what that would cause instantly, right? And I didn't want to do that.
And I think we also, people who are familiar with this idea, they know that the board, who as the actual IFS board, they don't know too much about what's happening on.
You mean the IF board?
Well, that's exactly the reason. That's exactly the reason why you should go.
Yeah, but what
That's
they're going
why
to say is they've appointed people on the school side, and they're going to say, well, we'll
That's
reach
fine,
out to
but
them, and they're going to give.
When you come forward with compelling evidence, I mean, look, in your past podcasts, you had compelling evidence. You had video, you had proof. That's hard evidence. There's no way you can deny that. If someone's not listening to you for whatever reason, there is a chain of command. And I do want to change the subject really quickly. I think, I do have a bone to pick, Danish. I've known you my whole entire life. And for you to sit there and use comments like oligarchs and Putin and nepotism and things like that, I mean, I just kind of found that to be a little bit outrageous. Like, I don't think you need to add that masala into this podcast where you're trying to be, guys that are giving fair news, that are, delivering news to the community, but yet now you're tarnishing it by like nepotism. Nepotism actually means generational. Where is the nepotism? Do you know what I mean?
The nepotism was talking about specifically with the child who was given
allegedly
given preference to play a starting role. That was the
Well, listen,
nepotism.
I can't
Oligarchs mean people who are wealthy. Oligarchs mean people who are wealthy. They buy power. They uphold structures of power. That's how societies are
I'm probably going to say
organized.
something that may not be very popular.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you straight up. You go to any organization in the world, you go to a public organization, if you make a large donation, of course they're going to listen to you. They're going to talk to you. Because at that point in time, it's not a donation anymore. See, like, if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, can you donate to this?" Yeah, fine, $100, $1,000, right? But when they're asking for a large donation, that's no longer
Absolutely,
a donation.
I agree with you. We have large donors too. I listen to our large donors. They don't dictate what happens on the show. If one of our large donors says, "Hey, I don't like one of your guests, take him off," that's not going to happen. There's that level of understanding.
Not happen. But here's the thing: if there are large donors, for example, there's people that donate to your podcast. You do sit them and give them an audience, and you listen to them because they're investing into your podcast.
Right, but I don't give them a chair. I don't give them a chair.
You can be guilty of the same exact thing.
No, I don't give them a chair in my organization.
So I think they're separate with saying, "Hey, I'm lending an ear," versus saying you get decision over what I do.
But hold on. But Danish, think about this, right? By saying something like that, all the other donors that are out there.
Hey, his name is Sim, by the way. It's Syed Imran Munir.
You claim to know me, but you don't know me by my real name.
Hold on. Let me finish the point. All the other people, large or small, that are donating to the masjid to pay for the lights, the water, to pay for the imam, to pay for the security. You think now, by saying this and acting like this, you're deterring them, and you're actually hurting an Islamic institution by doing that.
So I disagree. Hold on, Asim, I disagree. I'll tell you why. Listen, I'll disagree. Just because you give money does not mean you should look the other way when incompetency happens. Actually, you should feel more outraged. Hold on one second. I'm saying you should feel more outraged because your money, your hard-earned money, is going incompetently to something it shouldn't go to.
No, that's a separate point. I'm not disagreeing to that. Anyone that donates however small, however little, should all be outraged that their money is being spent in an inappropriate way. That's fine. We've established that. They never should have hired that, right? I'm actually talking about using your platform, Danish, to make
his name is
like
Sim.
My name is Sim. I don't know who you're talking about.
All right, Danish, I've known you my whole entire life.
I don't know. I don't even know who you are.
Get out of here with your stupid Huffy bike and your Sega Genesis.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Asim. We value your feedback, and I'm glad you were impartial and really pushed back on us. And I'll see you on the mountains.
I know all you guys. I've grown up with all you guys. I love you guys. You guys are my brothers. I support you guys. But also, as your friend, as your brother, I'll also tell you where you're wrong, and I'll also tell you where you're right.
Yeah.
And inshallah, I hope from this entire experience that there'll be some good, positive, productive change, and that would benefit the entire community, inshallah.
I mean,
inshallah.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
I mean,
appreciate it. Thank you. Okay,
right.
Who's the next one up?
Next one. Let's see.
And look, guys, we're doing this because we want to hear what people have to say, because we want to open up communication with people, right? And look, I'm actually glad because he's related to us, and he was actually we had no idea he was actually going to chime in, so that's great. And this is a good way of opening up communication with people. That's all it takes. All you got to do is open up the communication and talk to them. That's it.
Come on, guys.
Who's the next one up?
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
We're trying to do what
the board should have done.
We're trying to give the power back to you.
Oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you.
You know, just real quickly though, okay?
Gotham is yours.
IFS is yours.
None shall interfere. Do as you please.
Viva la revolution! No,
by storming
but
brackets.
I think, to be honest, when we were mentioning oligarchies, when we were mentioning this stuff, nepotism, keep in mind, if you hear the whole episode, we said this is just a microcosm of larger problems in the ummah beyond just IFS. This is a problem in how our Muslim organizations tend to be run at times in certain places. And these are problems that affect more than just IFS. We're just mentioning this about IFS. It's a microcosm of what happens here in this particular case. But it's not only limited. This is not unique to our community. It happens in many different communities. We hear all kinds of complaints, right? So it's not just about, we're not saying any one individual in this organization is X, Y, and Z. We're saying this is unfortunately what plagues our ummah as a whole.
All right. There's someone here. I hardly recognize him. Here we go.
You highly or hardly?
Hardly.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Welcome to the show, Adil.
Oh,
Sorry.
Guys, really? You guys are just talking about nepotism, bro.
Okay.
So,
Walaikum salam. What's up, Adil?
long time listener, first time caller.
You've been dying to say that, huh?
Yeah, I've rehearsed it a couple of times. So I did enjoy the podcast, and I think I did take away some key points, but there were a few things that I did do my own research on the individual, and I'm not saying you guys were wrong by any means or anything, but I just had a couple of questions. So the word missionary was thrown around a lot, right? My question was, when I went and researched his social media or whatnot, I didn't see any words that actually said he was an actual missionary. He was championing or cheering on some of the work that people overseas were doing, but I didn't see him himself doing it. I could be wrong. So that was one clarification that I was kind of
okay. So let me offer some, just maybe as someone who's involved in polemics. First of all, to be an official missionary, you have to have an organization that funds you, right? To be a missionary,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
However, he is a pastor. He openly talks about it, and in some of the videos that we've seen, the overseas Pakistani was referring to him as such, and he is someone that wants to bring people to Christ, right? That is basically missionary is in a simple form is what we refer to as dawah, right? Basically, what I think the point we're trying to make is that he is actively making dawah for his cause, and he's open about it, and he doesn't shy away from trying to bring people from Islam into Christianity. So as far as a missionary, meaning in the sense that is there a whole organization behind him, that I don't know, right? I don't think that's what we're referring to, but his active participation in trying to take away people from La ilaha illallah to whatever the Christians believe in is what he's actively doing.
All right, let's see. There's someone else here.
So I would ask this.
I'm sorry, Adil, we got to get to someone else.
We don't want to show nepotism, bro. Sorry, dude.
Okay. I just had one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
Last question. So, and this is just, I'm just trying to see the other side. If there was a Muslim in a non-Muslim organization and they were to be somebody that does dawah work, let's say they worked at Wheaton College.
Sure.
Do you think they should be let go? Because
absolutely. I think they're fully within their right because they have a certain culture of what they're preaching and a culture within their society. Like that is a Christian organization upon Christian values, and I think that we shouldn't shy away from saying, that shouldn't be allowed. No, I think they have the right to do that, right? Because of the fact that they want to preserve a certain culture, just as that we don't want. Because it's not just about religion, Ado. It's about other things. Like an atheist coming to say, I want to prove that there's no God on your, in your school system, right? Or if, a LGBTQ advocate, right? You want to keep certain things away. The reason why we create private schools is to keep the outside influence away from our children.
All right. Thank you for joining, Adil. We got Brother Omar here. Can you hear us? Oh, wait. We're muted.
Yo, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Hey, hang on. Yeah, 1 second, bro. I muted my... Sorry about that. We muted you, or we muted ourselves accidentally. All right, here we go. You're on.
I'm Coach Omar.
Who's Coach Omar?
I'm Coach number 3.
You're Coach number 3.
Oh, Coach number 3. We didn't know there was a number 3. Welcome, number 3.
I'm the reason why this podcast is happening.
It's nice to meet you, man.
Who is this? You guys know who this is?
I have no idea.
Let me close my door.
Uh-oh, bro. If you're gonna just we don't know you, and you already started off with joking. So usually, just don't drop any f-bombs, bro. And be respectful.
Or your pants.
I'm better than that. I'm better than that.
No, I'm messing with you, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
I don't
know,
You
came
called
up-
us, bro.
Coach it out, man.
Yeah. All right. So, just give me a question.
Wait, no, it's not. That's not how it works. It's you call if you have any questions about the podcast, brother.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
look,
really?
man, I don't know. I mean, if you just want to share your thought of what's happening, I mean, look, we came across information. We talked about it. Some people like it, some don't like it.
I got you. Good start.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm one of the assistant coaches for the 6th and 7th grade basketball teams, the middle school teams that Coach 1 or 2, the younger of the 2, decided to invite me and allow me to kind of help around with the kids, of course. So I don't play as big as a role as Coach 1 and 2 because I'm a tennis player, and one of the coaches was like, you know what, you already experienced coach with kids. We'd love to have you, kind of get the kids more on like that athletic mindset of, being a D1 athlete and stuff like that. Be a great,
Omar, can I pause you for a second? Are you a coach at IFS right now? Oh,
No.
you are. No.
No. Because if one of the coaches out, I'm out too.
Oh, so where are you? Where do you coach?
I coached basketball with.
No, are you working right now as a coach anywhere?
Oh yeah, I coach tennis at a country club.
Oh, okay. So you left. So you're no longer at IFS. You left IFS to go to the country club.
No, I was there at the same time. I was just doing it on the side.
Oh, okay. I got you. So you're doing volunteer work.
I'm best friends with coach number 1 or 2.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you. All right. So you okay. So I don't know how close you are to any of this stuff, but
I'm super close. I'm the reason why it happened.
So when you heard about our episode, when you saw our episode, did you see any factual?
I didn't need to tune in because I knew everything about it.
Okay, well, do you know about any factual inaccuracies that you want to bring up? Anything that was said incorrectly? Were we unfair towards the narrative towards
No, not at all.
Some foundation?
Not at all. No, because this is how it happened. Basically, when I heard that my friend got fired for no reason, after it triggered my mind. We were on the phone. We were on FaceTime like two weeks ago, and I was like, "Do you by any chance know like who replaced you?" Or
wait, hold on. Somebody said this guy's fake. It's not Coach Omar, bro.
This is what the wallah. So, come on, wallahi.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm not saying you're lying. I just don't know the whole situation. So I'm trying to verify right now with the other brothers that we know.
Guys, this is a prank, bro. This is not Coach Omar.
No. Listen to me talk.
This is not Coach Omar.
All right, how about this? Wait, hold on. 1 second, right now. Look, let's just drop into the box for right now.
Hang on one second. We gotta verify who you are.
Yeah, and then we'll bring you right back. Stay in the chat box. We'll bring you right back up. All right. Just undock him, and then we can redock somebody else. All right. So hold on. We'll get right back to you. I just want to verify. We have to do that because people try to. They're gonna say that we were inaccurate. We just brought anybody on to represent IFS. So I just want to make sure that we know who you are before we do that.
See, IFS, we're looking out for you.
Yeah.
We really don't want anyone to say anything that's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got a trustworthy source that said that's not him.
Okay.
Yeah. Very trustworthy. Thank you, Coach Omar Epps. Maybe he's Omar Epps. I don't know.
Anyways. Oh wait, he's real. Someone's saying he's real.
What?
Yeah, he's legit. I'm getting from. Yeah, I mean, anyways, that's the. I don't know who you're talking about, bro. That I'm getting it. That's him. Okay. All right. Hold on. Listen. Okay.
Let's just drop it, bro. Let's just be safe. All right, go ahead. Next person.
Oh,
please.
hang on. He's all right.
Wait 1 second.
Coach, I don't know. There's conflicting information about you. Please don't take it personal. Oh, he's showing his medal to us.
Yeah, hold on.
That don't matter, bro.
This is.
Okay.
One of the sources telling me that this is him.
Okay.
He's legit.
All right, Coach, you're back on. Coach, you're back on.
Yeah, I'm. Wait, 1 second.
Well, what's that? What's that? Wait. Slow down.
Let's see if I
You're
can
moving around a lot, Coach. All right, Coach. In appreciation, wait, where is that from, though? The Chargers. IFS Chargers. Yeah, he's got it, bro. Bro,
I can't see your screen.
Sorry. My bad.
Put it on that side. Put it on that side.
I was scared. I don't know if the guy was going to do something inappropriate or something. So, okay, here we go.
No.
So for those who missed it, he was showing the award, the IFS award or something. So, all right, Coach, go for it.
Yeah,
basically, how it happened was 2 weeks ago.
Don't mention any names either, please.
I won't. Trust me. Inshallah. We were just on FaceTime, and then like, I was kind of going through his page, and it was very like sketch. Like, how could anyone trust a man who doesn't really have a coaching background, like, into the scene? Like, I would let my friend know, like, okay, if you were to get replaced by someone who has years of experience, has a successful background at another academy, AAU, whatever, that's, it's understandable, because that's what they do. They'll try to be like, oh, well, it's like taking out Steph Curry and bringing LeBron in, Obviously, like, they'll do something like that, right? They're as corporate businesses,
What did you mean what did you mean by saying you were the reason that they got fired or someone got fired?
Because I found the picture. I found the picture of the WhatsApp message.
Of what WhatsApp message?
You gotta
Brother Ado was like, bro, there's 82 new Christians in my church.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
The only reason I'm... Wait, say it again?
Oh, so you're the reason how people found out about this guy, this missionary.
Yeah, so while I'm looking at, like... Because I could, like, sense so many, like, sketch, like, messages, like, just looking through, just a page, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking, I'm like, this guy's not even the coach. And, like, the stuff that he was posting were all about himself. Like, it just shows that he knows how to hoop, kind of, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But where is the coaching, right? So I'm looking through, and I see this like WhatsApp group message or whatever, and I look at it, and I'm thinking it's like, an offer of coaching that he got or something. No, I'm looking through the messages. I asked, coach number 2, I'm like, am I reading this correct? Is this right? So he's like, no. That we might be onto something. And I'm like, what's gonna happen if we bring this kid closer to the kid? Like, we love these kids. We like put so much time and effort to like make these kids successful, and it really showed in our results. And then to have that just get pulled away from them, we're like, and you replace them with this. So like, I was the one like looking through, just kind of like scrolling.
Okay. Yeah, I got you, brother. I mean, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, so look, to be honest, I'm a straight shooter, bro. We'll talk. Maybe we'll talk offline, whatever. But I wanna be able to kind of verify some things because we are live, right? And I don't know the full story, and so maybe we can get together, whatever, and we'll kind of cross corroborate certain things, whatever. But I mean, I appreciate you coming on and giving your side of the story. I mean, I know you probably came from a good place to look at it, but I mean, I think we do want to just kind of verify some things. And we'll get back to you because we don't want to be out here just putting stuff out there, right? I mean, we're not that kind of organization. So I appreciate you coming on and showing your face and showing your medals.
100%.
Yeah,
you're doing an amazing job. Nothing you're saying is infactual. And just one of my friends just texted me this link and said, "Yo, hop on live if you want to." So I said, "Whatever." Okay. Everything, because I'm one of the sources. Like, I'm part of this. Like, I didn't need to watch your episode. I watched like 10 minutes of it. I'm like, I already know what's like. I know this whole situation. Just wanted to confirm to the viewers that all this stuff is true, and this is a sad reality.
Okay. All right. We appreciate you, brother. We're just going to go to the next caller, so appreciate you. We'll be in touch with you later. All right. Salam. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so is there anybody else in the queue?
No.
Okay, so look, man, we have to verify like if that was the source of like the screenshots and whatever it may be. Again, we've got this from multiple different places. So again, the idea is that we don't want to just put anything out there. Again, the idea here is that regardless of what has transpired, we want to be able to just at the end of the day be able to understand from the board and the people that are in charge of the school that people who don't have the same viewpoint as or the same values that our community has and are not being put in positions where they can influence the children. That's really at the core of all this. All the other things that happened as far as people being let go, all of those things to me personally are just like administrative issues, right? There could be maybe a difference in understanding, maybe a methodology of coaching, whatever it may be, right? I don't want to get into that nitty gritty, right? Because none of us here are on the day-to-day. I don't know what happens day-to-day in the school or in the coaching, right? Some people have gripes. Some people feel they could have got a better opportunity. Those are all things that I can't really comment on. But I think what we can, at the bottom line of, if you take anything away from this whole thing, is that what we want to address is the fact that we don't want people who have values that don't align with us influencing our children. That's really the core of the issue. I mean, with all due respect to the brother that came on, the whole position of someone losing a job and being replaced, and that's administrative to me. I mean, I can't. I'm not in a position to give a judgment on that because I don't know the day-to-day, right? There's so many things that could happen, right? There's disagreements, there's methodologies that people disagree on. That's employee-employer relationship, right? And I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong. And with all due respect, it's just that fact that I don't think at this point in time that has any relevance to kind of what we're speaking about in terms of, is it okay for someone who's actively converting or wanting to convert Muslims to Christianity? Is it okay for him,
whether it's here or overseas? It doesn't matter. They're all our brothers overseas too.
So is it okay for that person with that mentality to be to have a potential influence over your children in the school? And I think we all understand, even people who are on the board, people we've mentioned, other community members. I think we collectively as an ummah, as a community in Chicago, can all agree that that's not something that we want, right? It's not something that we're disputing about, right? I don't think anyone at IFS or at the board here, school board, is saying, yeah, we want missionaries to come in and teach our children. Nobody's saying that. What we're saying is we all agree with this, that it's wrong to have this done. Right? And it's wrong to have an influence over our children. What we want to know now at this point is what we want to get to is how do we prevent this from happening in the future, and what controls are we putting in place that involve preventing that and having accountability for people who maybe by incompetency, I don't want to say by deliberately, but incompetently actually allow this to happen. How do we protect that? Right? That's all we're trying to get to the bottom of.
And look, we've given you a voice. Those of you who want to go take shots at us behind our back, that's fine. You can do that, but we left the floor open to you to join our conversation, our show, so that you can express your thoughts and challenge us in any way you thought is necessary, or maybe we missed a mark on something. You want to give us your thoughts on that. So. Otherwise, I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Yes, and just you said something about talking about us behind our back. Look, I'm giving everybody. I suggest you guys do this too, because this thing gets murky. When things get murky, a lot of people talk about other people. Anybody from this moment, even the people that we mentioned before, if they talked about me behind my back, no matter if it was true or if it was a rumor, and if it was considered backbiting, I stand in front of Allah and say, Allah, I've already forgiven them.
Why? Wait a second. Who told you could forgive them?
No, I forgive them. Maybe not you. You're a Sayyid. You're not level. You're a Sayyid, so you have a different level of stature. But me and Amr are mere mortals, so we want to get all the hasanat that we can get. So I'm gonna forgive.
I already forgive them.
I understand this is a messy business, and I like to separate my emotions. Yeah. I understand that people can get upset, and I think I like to pride ourselves in the idea that we can rise above the emotions. So if someone wants to slander or speak ill, true or false about me, no problem, or about us, I can look past that. Our concern, again, is the community. So I don't care what is being said about it. I think we're thick. Our skin is thick enough to deal with that. what we're concerned with is, if you take anything away from this show, we've always talked about how we want good for the ummah and for the community. And this is hitting home for us because it's in our in our backyard, right? We talk about a lot of other communities, a lot of other countries and politics and things, but this is in our own backyard. And so our main focus is that if it takes us to be slandered and backbited, whatever, I'm not worried about that. At the end of the day, we just as a community want to know that our children have a Islamically safe environment to go and be educated in, and to go and practice sports in, to go in and to attend the masjid in, to go in and to grow in, and to make generations that will be firm in their religion and not confused and not end up having to go to a school and then pick up ideas that are un-Islamic. Right? Yeah. We just want to, at a common level, I think we all can agree with that we want to protect the next generation.
Yeah.
That's all we want at the end of the day.
I think just pertaining to the letter, and then we can conclude, inshallah. One last thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Look, I think for those parents who received this letter, if this is an official letter that you got, I apologize on their behalf for the inconsistencies of whoever made this document, I don't know, that are in there. And if you're disheartened by the communication, because there's so many contradictory issues and not addressing the original issue, which is why this podcast is taking place. The brothers mean well. I can say that confidently. So don't be disheartened. Inshallah, we're going to get over this hump together as a community. That communication that came to you, if it did come through, official school, IFSC, as the document claims, I apologize on their behalf. This doesn't define our Islamic organizations in our community. We are much better than this, and to prove to you is we're going to get over this, inshallah, and we are going to make sure that things are made right, and we're not going to rest. Don't think this is the last podcast that's regarding this.
Oh boy.
It's not the last
Really?
podcast.
It's not?
It's not.
Oh.
We cannot, no, I'm just saying, we cannot think that we're just going to hit and leave, and that's it. That's not what we're going to do. As long as this, because we started this, and we went public with this, we have a responsibility to continue and not just leave it and then let the same mistakes happen over again.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
Thank you.
Any forgiveness requests come with a dollar amount. Donations can come to patreon.com/the Mad Mamluks. Again, we are here for you, the people. The M team is what we should call ourselves.
I love it when a plan comes together.
For my co-host, Shaykh Amir, Mort, my name is Sim. We'll see you all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.